Hey y'all, it's me. It's me. It's episode 25. Welcome to the Glow Up Is, y'all. I'm so excited on today. Oh my gosh, y'all. We're at episode 25. This is where we grow to glow. I don't know about y'all, but I hope that y'all had a wonderful, wonderful week. I'm so excited about tonight, y'all. Listen, last week was so good. These last 2 weeks have been great. I mean, we've been talking about changing your view, getting the plank out your own eye. You know what I'm saying? Then last week we started talking some more, and we just went in, y'all. We just working on us. We growing to glow, and that's what it's about, right? Because we got to have accountability. And so I know that, a lot of times, right, we feel like we can be by ourselves and that we are island by ourselves, but we are not an island by ourselves. So tonight, I want to speak on knowing your limits. You got to know your limits. You got to know your limits. You know what? Some of us don't know our limits. Some of us don't know when to stop. Some of us don't know when to go, right? But some of us don't know when to sit down, shut up, be quiet. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. And also, being mindful of the load that we're carrying. Like we all got a load. All of us got issues and different things that we going through, right? Because we've been talking about these issues. We've been talking about a lot of different things on this growing train, right? Because we gotta glow, we gotta shine. And baby, I want you to shine. I want you to shine. People been asking about this glow, and I'm like, y'all, the glow up is this is what we do, right? Every Friday at 7 o'clock. This is what we do. So I get so excited about what it is that he's doing in your life, but I'm also excited what he's doing in my life because I'm telling you, y'all, when I tell y'all, when I'm talking to y'all, I'm talking to me. We in this thing together. We growing to glow. That's what we do here at the Glow Up. So tonight, y'all, if you didn't look at the episode title, tonight we're going to be talking about knowing your limits. How many of y'all really are going through some things, right? You got some things that you're going through. You got some things that you just been covering, some things that you just been trying to do, and you've been holding on, and you've been taking it all in, right? And God has really been calling you to give it to Him. That you don't have it all figured out, and that's okay, right? But sometimes in this way of the world, right, we get so caught up in taking on more than what we can really handle, and we got to be open and honest with ourselves. Sometimes it's not even for us to carry; it's not even our load to carry, and so yeah, we got to be mindful of that. So I first want to go into the word. Y'all know I always got a word. Always got a word, man. God always give me something. And I'm thankful for that because that's how we grow, right? Even when it hurts, we still grow through it. Even when it's uncomfortable, we still grow through it. Even though sometimes it don't feel good. Oh my gosh. Especially when people be stepping up on your toes. Girl, I be stepping up all up on my own toes. When I'm talking to y'all and I go back sometimes and look at these replays, I'm like, girl, God, you did that. God, you said that. But anyway, so this is the good news translation. And I thought this was so dope. So it's coming out of Psalms 119, verse 96, and it says, "You are not invincible. You have limits. I have learned that everything has limits. God is the author of your limitations." Did y'all just hear that? I have learned that everything has limits. God is the author of your limitations. So it's letting you know that at the end of the day, right? Because I know sometimes, again, we like to be an alibi ourselves. We feel like we can do any and everything, and that sometimes, sometimes we can, right? We really in our minds, we really make up this thing in our minds that we really can do it all, right? But we can't save the world. That's not what we were called to do, right? And so we just got to learn to do our part, and we keep it moving. Um, I'm learning that, y'all. I'm learning that. I don't know about y'all, but listen, I can be a very um I can be one of those people that like to take on so many different things because I know that if I do it, it's going to get done the right way. It's going to get done the way that I need for it to get done. So I don't like to depend on a lot of people, right? So even when I'm at work, I don't like really teamwork. I like to do independent work, right? And it may sound crazy to some of y'all because y'all probably like, what in the world, Toy? You such an outgoing person and you love people. And I do love people, but I also want to make sure that my work is accurate. You get what I'm saying? So I know that at the end of the day, if I can't depend on nobody else, I can depend on me. I can depend on me. So I know that if I can depend on me at the end of the day, I know that the answers is going to be right because I've done all of my research. I am one of those people. Yes, I am. I am one of those people. And so for me, at the end of the day, right, God has really been unctioning me and really been tugging at me to say, Toya, you got to know your limits. You got to know when to call for help. You got to know when to ask for help. And sometimes we don't like to ask for help. We don't want nobody to even know that we going through. We don't want nobody to even know that we don't have it all together. Yep, I'm stepping on y'all toes. I promise you, I'm stepping on mine too, y'all. Listen, when God says you are not invisible, when that thing hit me like that, I said, wait a minute now. The Good News Translation says, again, Psalms 119, verse 96, it says, I have learned that everything has limits. God is the author of your limitations. You are not invincible. You have limits. That means that you are not as powerful as you think that you are. That means that you don't have all the power in your hands. You have some authority. Yes, you do. Yep, you do. You have some authority. You have some right? You have some power. You have some leeway, but you got to reel that thing in and you got to know when to reel it in. And so you got to be aware of the things that it is that you like to do. So going back to the scenario that I was using, right? Because me at work, I am an independent worker, which I can also be a team player too, but I don't really like being in a team work. I don't really care too much. I'm not going to say I hate it because I don't hate it. I'm starting to like it a little bit more, but I don't like it as much because I know that when I'm doing it by myself, then it's just my metrics by itself that we go off of. And I know that I can count on me. And at the end of the day, right? Sometimes you feel like that's all you got is yourself. But God is letting you know on today, man, listen, He knows your boundaries. He knows your limits. He knows you. He knows us. He knows us by name. He knows every single thing that it is that we're going through. He knows everything, even before it happens. He knows. And so we have to learn to trust Him. And that's where that trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not to your own understanding, in all thy ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. That is where that comes into context, right? Because that's Proverbs 3 and 5 and 6, just for clarification, if anybody needed that. But God is telling us even then that we got to trust Him with all things. We can't just trust Him with one thing. We got to trust Him with all things. And we got to trust Him. We got to trust that He knows what's best for us. And sometimes, y'all, we take on things, right? We take on projects, and this was the crazy part, right? So I told y'all I'm not really I'm learning to be a team player, right? But I'm such an independent worker. And so one thing I am aware of is that I know that I'm not an island by myself, right? But I like to think that I know what I'm doing. I like to think that that I'm capable of getting the job done by myself. But this particular project that day needed somebody else's eye, right? And what I didn't realize, right, is that even though I had the knowledge, right? It was funny because what the other person had, I needed. So I needed her expertise to be able to look over, right, from what I did, from what it was that I was doing, to oversee, to ensure that there were no regulatory errors, that everything was in compliance. Because if she did not do that, right, then we could possibly get sued. So, for me, at the end of the day, I like to think that I know what I'm doing. So I'm like, I don't need nobody to look over my work, but she's certified in it. So why would I not trust the process? Why would I not trust her with the work that I've already done, right? And then allow her to finish it. And sometimes, y'all, that thing was a real struggle for me. It was a real struggle for me because I didn't want to let it loose. But what I learned is that after she did everything that she needed to do, it became a presentation. Hey, T. Yes, girl, working on trusting God. Yes, we are both working on trusting God and not worrying, especially after we give it to him. Girl, it is so hard sometimes. And God just be trying to tell us to really leave it there because he says that he is invisible. He is all powerful. He is the one who has it all and knows it all. We don't know it all, right? And it's okay for us to not know it all. It's okay for us to not know, right? But we serve the one who does know it all and the one who has all of the answers, who knows that it's still working for our good even when it don't feel good and even when it's uncomfortable for us because we're not used to it, right? But the more that we do it, it becomes habit, and then when it becomes habit, it becomes a regular thing, and then that's that next growth spurt, right? And then God says, welcome to a new level. Welcome to a new level in me, right? But also welcome to a new version of you because God has elevated you in that. He's taking you through all of these different things, right? In order for you to begin to see that you're not even who you used to be. So I'm learning, y'all, and it feels amazing to be able to step into something and actually ask for help. I think sometimes it's easier said than done, though, right? Because we don't sometimes know our limits, and it's easy for us sometimes. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but listen, I'm gonna be transparent, right? I have literally before, right? I will not sit and ask anybody. I've been so prideful before where I've not asked anybody, not even my parents, to do something for me, and literally will sit there and drown. And God is like, listen, I'm trying to send you help. I'm trying to send you help. But you feel like, I'm grown. I can do this thing on my own. I don't need no help with this. And it's okay. And sometimes we suffer in silence. And God is like, I didn't call you to suffer in silence. You are not an island by yourselves. And that's where that discernment comes in, because sometimes, because of our experiences, right? Because of the things that we've experienced in this life, because people have hurt us, because we have trusted people, right? And those people have failed us, right? Because even in knowing our limits, we feel like we can't trust that person with the situation, right? We can't trust this person to share with them our secrets. We can't trust this person to be able to do these things. And God will send people to heal you, to speak life over you, to pray for you. We just get in our own way. Yep, see, we get in our own way. We get in our own way because of our habits. And those are some things that we have to allow to die, because we can't grow. We're stunting our own growth. Like, we are literally stopping our own growth because we're not intentional anymore. And that's the key word. We got to be intentional with knowing our limits. We have to know that, guess what? We are only one person. We are only one person. We can't save everybody. We can't save everybody. Listen, God said it was not fit for man to be alone. It is not fit for man to be alone. So that is letting you know right then and there that it is not fit for you to be alone, that you are not an island by yourself. You got to have friends. You got to have people, right, around you, right, that you can count on. And God will give you those people, even though you've been hurt and burned before. Because y'all, listen, man, if I can sit on here and tell you how many people I thought that I was going to have with me at 37 years old, I would have thought that I would have a lot more friends than what I have currently. I would have thought that I would have a lot of family members that would be backing me up, supporting me, being there for me, right? That I could really, really trust. And God had to show me that, baby, you can't trust a lot of people out here in this world, but I need for you to trust me. Your trust needs to be in me. You can't even trust yourself. You will let your own self down because of your own habits. This is what I'm talking about. And we got to be intentional with this thing, because the less people, exactly, sis, yes, and quality over quantity. It's a major thing. Yes, y'all, because we can't be out here trying to save everybody else and hurting ourselves in the process. We hurting ourselves in the process, and it don't feel good to us. And then next thing you know, we in the house by ourselves, and we getting all depressed and worked up over something. We getting ready to fight. We getting ready to cuss somebody out. You see what I'm saying? And all that is so unnecessary. All of that is so unnecessary. And so we have to be mindful of what it is and how we're doing those things, right? And how we go about those things and how God wants us to know that I need for you to work what's in your reach. I don't need you to go too far off the deep end. If I didn't call you for that, I don't need you to do that. And some of us, ouch, I will take the initiative to just go out and do it. Cause I'm like, listen, it's a need, right? Ain't nobody else doing, ain't nobody else stepping up to the plate. So I'll just go ahead on and step up to the plate. And what I've learned is that I have an initiative problem. Like I will literally, nobody want to say anything, nobody else wants to do it. So I'm gonna go ahead on and do it. And I'm like, but Greg Day, did I even pray about that before I did it? I just said I'm gonna go out here and do it. I'm just trusting that God gonna bless and God gonna make a way. I'm gonna just go out here and do it. I didn't even pray about that first. I didn't even ask God, was it okay for me to even step up to the plate? Or were you waiting for somebody else to do it? Because sometimes, y'all, we can take away other people's growth opportunities. Like it may be their growing season and your glowing season. You see what I'm saying? So we got to be mindful of that too. We have to be very mindful of, okay, did God call me to do this or am I doing it on my own? Because then we put ourselves in that situation, right? Because I don't know about y'all, but listen, I'm telling you, I've been in a lot of those situations before where I've opened my mouth prematurely and had to go and do something. And now I'm mad because I'm out here doing it and I didn't even have to open my mouth to even do it because God had already made a way. But because I opened my mouth, now I'm sitting here. Now I got to go do it. So now I'm slow to speak because God had to show me is that, listen, you ain't even have to do that. I already had an escape. I already had a way out. I already had a plan A, but you made yourself plan A. I ain't put you there. You put your own self there. This is crazy. It's crazy, y'all. That's why I said we have to know our limits because we can take on so much and we are only one person. Am I telling you that God hasn't called you to that, to that specific thing or to that specific person? I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that you got to use your discernment for that. You got to really ask God, God, I need for you to really open my eyes up. If this is really where you want me to be, if this is really what you want me to do, right? Then I'm going to go out here and I'm going to do it. If this is really what you want for me to do, because if God shows you that this is what you're supposed to do, guess what? A lot of times you may not get hurt, right? You are actually out of harm's way. And you have to understand sometimes when God tells you to, most times when God tells you to do something, it doesn't necessarily hurt you, right? It doesn't hurt you in a way, but it matures you and it grows you in such a way where people begin to see you and they look at you like, girl, look at you over there glowing. Sometimes you even got your haters, right? That'll actually come out their mouth and say something. And even sometimes they may not even say anything, but they looking at your page. They inquiring about you. I promise you. When you leave the room, people still talking. Your name is brought up. Child. That means you're doing something right. That means you out here say, I ain't doing nothing but just growing the glow. I ain't doing nothing but just growing the glow. That's all I'm doing. I'm just trying to grow. I'm just trying to grow to glow. That's all I'm doing. I just want to shine. I just want to let his light shine. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to be out here putting more on me, right? And putting more on my plate than what don't need to be ate. And a lot of us, man, we get so wrapped up in doing what it is that we want to do. Sometimes it makes us feel good. It makes us feel relevant. So that's the reason why we do it, because we want to be seen. We got to watch our motives. Our motives be real. You see what I'm saying? The motives be real. Because I'd have been there too before, right? Being petty. Being real petty. I don't know if I got any people on here that been petty before. And sometimes I got to catch myself because I am triggered to be petty. Like, I don't know about y'all, but sometimes I am triggered to be petty. And I'm just like, God, I need you to help me because I know my limit, right? And I got to be mindful with this thing because at the end of the day, if I'm not careful, right, the pettiness will swallow me up. And next thing you know, I'm doing more. I got more on my plate than what I needed to do. And I already had the goal in mind, and I can't now. It's taking me longer to reach to reach the goal. Yes, T, the old me. Yes, the old me ain't no joke. Listen, I'm telling you, it's something real in this thing, boy. When you got some things that you got going on, and that flesh love to just talk some mess and smack and girl, I try to say. I try to tell people all the time, I'm like, you know, if we just stuck, if we really just stuck to the word and we really said, God, I really trust you, and I'm not leaning to my own understanding, right? I don't want to just see what I see. I want to see what you see. I want you to help me to see them the way that you see them. And this goes right back, y'all, to to one of the episodes that we talked about a few weeks ago is God, I need for you to help me to see, help me to change my view. I need for you to really help me to change my view because I'm seeing things that I probably shouldn't see. I'm not really seeing them the way that you see them. Or maybe I am. Maybe you are exposing them exactly, the way that I need to see them and I don't like what I see. And so, we have to be mindful of that too, right? Because our company and the company that we keep, listen, you got to know your limits with that too. Sometimes, y'all, we got to set boundaries, even with our own, even with the people that have been with us for so long and the people that we call family. We got to set boundaries. I know sometimes that can be hard because it's like, man, this is my mom, or this is my sister, or this is my brother, or this is my cousin, and I talk to them all the time. But some of the things that they talk about is not healthy. Is it really help growing you? Is it growing you? That's what I'm saying. Like, is it growing you? Are they covering you? Are these some people that you really can help? Like, really, what can you really do for them in that moment? Right. And I'm learning this more and more too. Like, especially me being in North Carolina, it's some things that I just can't do. Y'all. Yes. Oh my God, sis. Yes. Family, especially. Yes. We got to have a boundary. We got to have a boundary because if we don't, y'all, what we gonna do is we gonna begin to drain ourselves, and that's not what God called us to do. He don't want us to be drained. He want us to be on full every day. He want us to have more than enough. He want us to really have an overflow, because when the cup is empty, that means that we still got some more. That means that we still got more in the cup. Because even when it overflow, I'm like, look, the overflow is for y'all, but what's in the cup is for me. Listen, I'm stingy with this thing. I'm stingy with God. I'm stingy with God like that. And I gotta be. I gotta be stingy with this thing. Because the reality is, right, even with my family, right? Um, I look at them and I'm thankful for my family, right? But I know every single one of them. You get what I'm saying? I know every single one of them. I know how they are. I know how they're going to most likely respond. And you do too. You're aware of how they are. You're aware of how they respond. When we pay attention to all of these different things, right? Because they got habits and got issues, just like you got issues. We got issues, right? Because we human beings. But at the same time, sometimes they look at you and they're like, man, she's so strong. She can handle this conversation that I'm about to have with. I mean, they just start spilling. And you like, red day. They didn't even ask you how your day was going. They didn't even ask you, what can I do for you? Do you need prayer? Because in those moments, they just care about what they want. It's not even about you in that moment. Can't you go to God too? Can't you talk? The same way I talk to you is the same way that I talk to God. And that's the thing that I'm learning, is that there's so many people out here that I'm learning that know of God, but don't really know him. Like, they really don't have relationship with God. Like, really don't have relationship, because the fruit, I don't see no fruit that's being like, I should know by the fruit that you bear, but you're not bearing no fruit. I don't see no fruit, but you got enough time on the phone to talk about this person and that person. And when I get on the phone, it's like, I'm not even trying to hear all of that. I ain't trying to hear all of that. You see what I'm saying? I want things that's going to be elevating me. I want things that's going to help grow me because those things don't help me. They can even deter me. They can even trigger me. You get what I'm saying? And so that's something that we have to be mindful of is knowing our limits, knowing how much we can handle. Sometimes we have to say enough is enough. I don't know if I can do this today. I don't know whether or not if I'm strong enough to handle the conversation that you really want to have with me today. And it is your right to say no. It is your right to say, I don't want to be a part of this. It is your right to say, I don't want to come. Even if a person invites you somewhere, you don't have to say yes. And that's okay because guess what? People will talk about you whether if you're doing good or if you're doing bad. Who cares? Who cares? Listen, I tell you what, I'm at this point in my life right now where I'm so intentional and I could care less what other people think because guess what? I'm in this place now where I'm beginning to know my limit. I'm beginning to understand that I can't do it all. I can't handle everything. I'm strong, absolutely, right? And I know that I'm a strong individual, right? But the same way that I go to God, you got to go to God too, because one thing I'm not going to do is allow my peace to be for sale. You can't have my peace. You can't have my joy. God says you can have the same. You can have peace. You can have joy, but you got to come to Him to activate it. And my thing is that I can't help if you don't want to activate your peace on the day. I can't help that you don't want to activate your joy today. But Latoya gonna enjoy her joy and her peace because that's just the way it is. And I refuse to allow anybody, right? And I mean that when I say that, right? And I'm very unapologetic when I say it, is that you got to respect my boundaries. It's going to be opportunities, right? Where God is going to allow you to say yes and say no. And you got to know your limit. That's what tonight is about, is knowing your limits, man. You're not invincible. You're not all powerful. You are a human being and you're not your friend's therapist. Hello, I'm going to say that again. You are not your friend's therapist. Recommend a therapist to them, especially if they begin to talk to you about the same stuff over and over and over again. Do you hear what I just said? Especially if they keep talking about the same thing over and over again, the same problems, the same issues, and you've given all of your energy and you've given all of this sound advice, right? But because it's coming from you, they ain't even trying to receive anything that it is that you're trying to tell them because maybe they don't even really appreciate. They just want you to agree with what it is that they said. I am not one of those people. I'm going to tell you that now. I am not one of those friends. I'm not one of those people. If you tell me something, right? And you literally are on the phone with me and you're talking about whatever it is that you may be going through, I will sit there and I will listen to you. I will definitely listen to you because I don't mind doing that. I don't mind doing that at all. But at the end of the day, what I'm not going to do, right, is continue to listen to you talk about the same thing every single time. That's a pet peeve of mine. Either you're going to do something about it or shut up. It's that simple. And I'm just like, look, listen, maybe you need some professional help because I don't have my license I'm not a licensed therapist. It's draining, it's tiring, it's so much that can be on you. And at the end of the day, nobody is thinking about you and what you got going on. So you got to know your limits. You've got to know your limits and you got to be real with yourself about knowing your limits. And if you don't know your limits, I'm going to tell you what, this world will begin to show you exactly what your limits is because you will begin to take on something. The next thing you know, you're like, I'm drained. I don't have energy. And God is telling you to take rest. I don't know how many of y'all that need a vacation, but listen, you got PTO, take it. You need a vacation, take it. You deserve it. You work. You're probably the best mom, best father, right? Caretaker, all of that. All of these things go unnoticed. Sometimes, y'all, we have to literally decompress. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, T. Yes. You can try to give advice and people do become angry. Yes. And the crazy thing about it is people begin to be angry because they're triggered. And some of us, we got to be mindful, right, when we do give the advice to people, because people will get so angry to the point where they will begin to tarnish your name and change up and switch up on you. Listen, it's demonic spirits. It's a demonic spirit. And that energy is real, because they don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to really hear it from you. Sometimes it's not even that they don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear it from you, because they feel like now you think that you better than them, and they think that they think that your stuff, you like, oh no, I didn't say that my stuff didn't stink. I'm not saying that I don't go through issues. I'm not saying any of that. What made you think that? Now this other person that you're trying to give the advice to created a whole scenario in their head, and they really believe that it's real, and they want other people to feed off of the story now that they done told, because now they believe that that's the truth. And it's weird. That's a demonic spirit, and we have to be mindful of those things, because guess what? Demonic spirits can really begin to drain all of your energy. They become very toxic as well. And I'm telling you, because they will leech on to you. And so we have to be mindful of that too. Yes. And it's wild because they asked you for the advice. But my thing is too, is like we have to be good stewards of the advice that we give, because we have to be mindful of that. Because the biggest thing is, God, is it okay for me to give advice? Is it okay for me to even be on this phone talking to this person? That's what we need to be accountable for. Is it all right for me to be even talking to this person? Is this person going in the direction that I'm going in? Do they want to grow? Are they even making any type of effort to want to grow, to want to mature, to want to be able to receive your love? Because guess what? If the people can't even receive God's love, how in the world can you even give them any type of love or sound advice? They're not going to be able to receive it, because they're not really ready for deliverance. They're not really ready, right, for to be set free, because what you have for them, right, the truth will begin to set you free if they allow it in. But they don't want to receive the truth because they are delusional. They've created a safe space for their lie. They've created a safe space for what the enemy has now told them as to what it is. Child. And that's what I'm trying to tell you, y'all. We just got to be careful. And that's okay, T, because at the end of the day, guess what? We learn from these situations. We learn from these circumstances. We learn from these friendships and these relationships. We learn from them, because at the end of the day, right, we know that we're not an island by ourselves, but at the same time, we can't learn from just ourselves. We got to have other people in order to learn more about ourselves. And that's why God even brought Eve on in the first place. He said it's not fit for man to be alone. Adam couldn't see the things that he was doing. I'm pretty sure that Eve was able to share with him and tell him what it was that he was doing. They was able to see these things. They was able to learn from each other. These are partners, right? And so that's why I said we have to learn and we have to know our limits, because guess what? Even though we in this body that we have, there's some limitations on this body. This body ain't gonna allow you to just get out and just do whatever you choose to do with it, right? If you don't eat properly. If you don't eat properly, you don't get the proper rest, you're not gonna be able to do the things that God called you to do anyway. And that's what the enemy wants. He wants you to be tired. He wants you to not be healthy. He wants for you to be distracted by conversations and gossip. He wants you to be distracted by those people who are just talking about you. He wants you to be distracted by family and what they think about you, and who they used to know, right? And they don't even know who you are now. The people don't even know this version of you. And you out here just trying to grow. That's all you want to do, is just grow. But at the same time, we have to be intentional with our growth. It is on us to know our limits. It is on us to understand that we are not islands by ourselves. It is on us. And that's why we have to take accountability. And that's why this group is so important. Because when God gave it to me, he said, man, I need people to glow. And I want them to glow up. I want them to glow up, not glow down. I want them to glow up. God is trying to take us higher. He wants his light to shine through us so radiantly that someone is going to say, what is it about that glow? And you can tell them exactly what it is. Because I tell people all the time, they're like, girl, what is it about the glow? What you got going on? I'm like, it's God. It's God. It's God. It's God. Do I have it all together? Absolutely not. And do I still sometimes not know my limits? Nope. Sometimes I forget that I have limitations on me. And that's okay, because sometimes I have to learn the hard way. But that's not cool either, because the reality is that God don't want me to go that way, but I still do those things that I don't want to do sometimes. And it don't feel good. And so we just got to be mindful, man, and we got to be intentional, because it's real. It's real out here. It really is, y'all. And that's why we had this group, man. We got to grow up to glow up. We got to grow up to glow up, and it don't feel good. Nope, it don't. So I'm telling you, man, if you got time to take off, you need a reboot, you need a refresh, you need a renewal, you need to rejuvenate, you need to get yourself, your mind right. Go do it, man. Time is not waiting on nobody. It's not waiting on nobody. You got vacation time, or even if you just need some time to you, don't be ashamed of that. It's okay. And if you need help, it's okay for you to call for help and ask for help. Pray. Ask God who to talk to. God, who can I talk to? Who can I share this with? Who's not going to judge me? Who's going to make me feel good about this? Because everybody you can't trust with that. Everybody you can't talk to. You can't. It's not meant for you to. And that's okay too. But God says, I'm right here with open arms. I'm right here. I'm ready to listen. And God will send you people. And I'm thankful for that. I'm so thankful that God sends me people. I'm so thankful that God sent me some of my friends, man. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about what God has done, because I asked God for like-minded people, people that's going to support me, people that are really going to be a part of where it is, man. Now, I really, really, really got me a really great, great friend of mine, and I call her Kay. But listen, man, she's so like-minded. She's a woman after God's own. She's a woman after God's own heart, literally. And I mean, we can have down to earth conversations, and she will hold me accountable, okay? And I will hold her accountable. She's like, wait a minute, you thinking wrong. You thinking you're going the wrong way. Wait a minute, that ain't what you just said. And I'm thankful for my friend Tisha. I'm thankful. I'm thankful for y'all. I'm thankful, Tiara. I'm thankful for y'all. Like, y'all don't even understand. Like, y'all inspire me just as much. Just as much. Y'all just don't know it. But I'm thankful for it, because at the end of the day, man, we need each other. And that is what it's about, y'all. And I'm thankful. I'm just so thankful. I can never thank God enough for this outlet on this podcast, because I know that God is able, he's willing. And if we just continue to put our trust in him, and not lean to our own understandings, and not trust the flesh or the things that we used to do, or the versions that we used to be. Because listen, man, if you knew me back then, I'm not gonna say I was a bad person, but I was real petty. I was a young girl. I was petty. I had some petty ways, man. But I'm thankful at the same time that God can take a petty little girl, right? And even in the mindset of even being in my 20s, a little girl, right? But me being in my 30s, I can reflect on who I used to be. And I'm like, I'm not as petty as I used to be. I'm not. Now, can I still get petty? I can still get petty, but I choose not to be petty. Now I realize it's a choice. I don't have to respond to everything. I don't. And you don't either. So that's what I'm saying, y'all. Listen, so I'm thankful for y'all, man. I'm thankful for y'all, for real friends. I'm thankful for real family. I'm thankful for my listeners. I'm thankful for all of y'all, because man, God knows that, at the end of the day, man, we need each other, and that's what the glow up is. We grow to glow, and that's what we're gonna continue to do. We're gonna grow. We gonna grow. We gonna cry. We gonna do all of these things, y'all, because it's a part of growing, crying, hurting, right? But we're growing through the pain. We're growing through all of the uncomfortableness. We're intentional with everything that it is that He has for us to do, y'all. But I just wanted to give y'all flowers while I see y'all on here, because each and every single one of y'all, man, I appreciate y'all. And I love y'all so much. And the listeners that's listening, man, I appreciate y'all so much. But anyways, we're gonna get back on here next week, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time every Friday. So no more 8 o'clock. Nope. 8 o'clock was just too much. But 7 o'clock, I feel like that's a good time for everybody. 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. I usually get on about 6:55 p.m. Eastern time. But I'd have held y'all a lot longer this time. But anyways, we're gonna grow up. We're gonna continue to grow, to glow up. And that's what it's about, man. So I'll see y'all next week. Y'all have a blessed weekend. I will. I love y'all again. I'll see y'all next week. Bye.